What up, what up, what up, football fans? Welcome to another episode of the Blitz. How is everybody doing tonight? I am your host, Big C. This is brought to you by Game Changers Media. And you know my co-host. We've missed you, Mike. It seems like forever since we've talked, since we're not doing Wednesday shows right now. Your co-host, Mike Jones. What's going on, Mike?
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode 50, if I'm not mistaken, which is insanity. I'm looking forward to another 50 strong. Yeah, I agree, man. It's been a week. You know, there's not much to talk about, so we cut back from on our Wednesday days, and you know, I've had some personal issues going on too, so I'm working things out. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to see everybody that stops by, and looking forward to the Super Bowl coming up. I am truly.
Yes, of course. The Super Bowl. We're gonna talk about that a little bit. Also, we're gonna dibble and dabble on a few other things I was thinking about while I was sitting here going through my daily podcast watcher, because I watch a lot of podcasts. I like to keep up on what everybody's talking about, and I support a lot of other channels, and I watch a lot of the ESPN shows, First Take, and you know, all those channels. Obviously, we're going to talk about Super Bowl. Super Bowl's the Super Bowl, but I got to thinking, and I was looking at stats, and I was looking at Saquon Barkley's year, and Saquon had a fantastic year. One of the greatest years ever. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about these Kansas City Chiefs and where they rank as a team in NFL history. Because what they've done is remarkable. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, they got to be up there with the all-time greats as far as quarterbacks and coaches go, and the success this team's had in the last 5, 6, 7 years. So we're going to get into that. But there's a lot of other stuff going around in the NFL right now. The Senior Bowl just wrapped up today. So for all those draft needy teams and teams that have been eliminated. So if you're not a Kansas City fan or a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you've been looking towards the future, looking towards next year, looking at how your team can improve. The Senior Bowl is a great opportunity to check out some of the talent before the combine. You know, maybe you don't watch a lot of college football. Like, I don't watch a lot of college football, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so the Senior Bowl is a great opportunity to learn who some of these guys are, see who's capable of what, who's got the potential, where they might be drafted, where their draft stock is, and how they perform against other top seniors.
Right.
So I really enjoy that. It really gives you an idea of, all right, this left guard, he does great things. He's fast, he's agile, or he's big and he's strong. Would he fit your system? Would he fit your team scheme? So I really like that. Plus it gives you an idea who these people are as young men.
Yeah, they're a little more developed too, right? Because they're obviously in their last year of college, so yeah, they're gonna be more NFL ready, and you're gonna have that opportunity to maybe pick from a better setup, that somebody more likely to come in and be ready, right?
Well, yeah, they're definitely more mature too, as far as a mental capacity too. You know, but you get to learn who these people are as human beings. You know what I mean? And I like that about this. I like that about the Senior Bowl too. A lot of standouts. They gave me an opportunity as a Miami Dolphins fan, which our team has glaring needs along the offensive line and the safety position.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me an opportunity to learn some of these guys that maybe aren't at the top of the draft, maybe aren't the number 1 or number 2 prospects, but they're still very, very capable players that could come in and help my team out immediately. And I really like that. Whether it's a 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round, these players, they vary in their draft stock, but it gives you an opportunity to see how they perform against other top talent. And I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Fin Posse podcast, I've been discussing a lot about this last week. I've been doing Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time for anybody that wants to check it out. I've been just basically going out over what our team needs are, what the expectation is, who we could bring in. I've been going over who our free agents are, whether we should let them walk or come back, what I expect us to do in the draft, and draft targets, free agent targets. Because before the draft, there's free agency. Free agency opens up in March.
Mm-hmm.
You could address a bunch of your needs in free agency, and it could change your whole draft position. You know what I mean? It could change up who you want to draft. I could go get if you're a quarterback needy team, you could go sign Sam Darnold, and now you're not a quarterback needy team, and you're not taking a quarterback in the first round.
Right.
So I've been going over a lot with that. There's a couple teams that come to the forefront when I think about the quarterback position, though, who've got tough decisions to make, and that's the New York Jets first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
What is New York Jets going to do with Aaron Rodgers? Now, I've been hearing a lot of different takes on what the Jets should do. I still don't think they know what they're going to do, but the consensus is move on from Aaron Rodgers, let him go, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, who can the New York Jets get that's going to be better for them than Aaron Rodgers is?
I'd have to agree. I don't know either. I think he's got what? This is his last year under contract, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it was me, let him play the final year if he wants to. You don't even know what Aaron Rodgers is going to want to do because I haven't heard anything from what his take on it was yet either. So,
well, I'm pretty sure he wants to play.
So give him another shot, give him another year. I mean, it can't be any worse. I really don't. I don't believe that he didn't have a terrible year. If you look at all his numbers, he had a decent year. It wasn't that bad. It's just the defense didn't show up like everybody was expecting the defense to show up. There was a lot of issues. I don't know what it was. I expected more of them, but I don't know if moving away from him right now is the best option for them, unless they somehow pick up a quarterback that I don't see. Who are you going to pick up? Who would you pick up if you were the Jets? Like, really? Would you go after a Darnold? Would you go after you're definitely going to want to go after some kind of veteran. You're not just going to want to throw somebody who doesn't have the experience in there. So, and that's a tough spot.
What's up, Armando? I'll hit that in just a second. I'll answer that question in just a second. I don't think that's the main thing with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's necessarily about if they can get a better quarterback in the building or a better quarterback to help them this season. I think it's about the future with the New York Jets. I think that because Aaron Rodgers is who Aaron Rodgers is, and we've all seen him be the way that Aaron Rodgers is, he likes to throw his weight around. He likes, hey, I'm Aaron Rodgers. I think they worry about what devastation that can do to this new coaching regime, the new front office. I think they're worried about a clash happening there that you don't want them type of problems, especially in the first season.
Right.
You don't want that type of discrepancy between half of your team and, some of them are going to back Rodgers, some of them are going to want to back the coach. Aaron Glenn is a first-time head coach. I don't think they want them type of problems. So maybe they're willing to sacrifice play on the field this first season for the greater good.
Right.
And maybe they decide that, hey, are we going to be worse without Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, maybe. But he's not going to have an opportunity to destroy this team and what Aaron Glenn's trying to bring to this team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, that's the one thing, I appreciate somebody who comes in to an organization and, having a little bit of pull. Like that's one thing, but it's literally like the Jets went out of their way to give Aaron Rodgers everything he wanted, the best, what they probably thought would be the best for their team and the best for him. And they go out of their way and they sit there and they pull him in, they get him a receiver. They sit there and get him the coaches that he wants. And what did they have to show for it other than, like you said, the extra nonsense that if you want to win football games, you can't deal with all that nonsense during the season. You can't deal with Aaron Rodgers throwing a temper tantrum. You can't deal with Aaron Rodgers not liking this guy. So, we got to figure out what to do about that. And it's too much. Yes, you are a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, you are one of the greatest to ever do it. Yes. But I don't give a shit who you are. It's not your team. It's not your team. You can sit there and say it's your team all you want, but it's not your team. They gave you everything you wanted, and you did not pull through for them. You guys didn't live up to what was expected of you. And I think it just creates a bigger issue when you sit there and you cater to certain players. Now, if you brought him a wide receiver or something simple like that, that's one thing, but they literally did everything they could to get him who he wanted in there. And he, like I said, he didn't have a bad season. It's not that he had a bad season. It's just that he got everything he wanted, but the Jets are still sitting here, the laughing stock of the league. Just like my New York Giants. We're the laughing stock of the league. Like it is what it is. I just don't know where you go from there. Like you said, I don't know if you'd want him to play this year or if you wouldn't want him to play this year. That's a tough call because at the end of the day, he still is Aaron Rodgers. He still is. So I don't know how that looks for the future. I don't know if, like you said, if Aaron Glenn's going to want to have to sit there and make his decisions based off of what he thinks. I don't think he will, though. I think he'll just do what he thinks right. So that's going to be a good thing, I hope.
Well, it makes for a murky situation for the Jets, who they're going to start at quarterback, if not Aaron Rodgers. And it also makes it tosses Aaron Rodgers' future up in the air. Where else is there for Aaron Rodgers to go if not for these New York Jets? I want to touch on what Armando said real quick. Armando, yeah, we could go straight defense, but this offense, and we've seen it last year, this offense has glaring holes that affected how good the Miami Dolphins offense was. This wasn't the offense of 2 years ago. This wasn't the number one offense in the league. The offensive line took so many steps back this year. Brewer wasn't bad at center, but he didn't play at the level of Connor Williams the year before. You had lost Robert Hunt to free agency. The left guard position wasn't nearly as good. I mean, Eichenberg and Robert Jones were terrible this year. This offensive line was terrible, which made for a terrible rushing attack, which affected the passing game. When them safeties get to sit back and don't have to worry about the run, they can just worry about the pass. It makes it very difficult to pass. When you can rush 4 and still get pressure on the quarterback, when you can rush 4 and still stop the run, that makes it difficult to throw. So therefore, you've seen Tua take a step back. You've seen what Tyreek's numbers look like at the end of the year. And yeah, Tyreek played the whole year injured. Mm-hmm. Jalen Waddle dealt with injuries throughout the year. And plus the us using the tight end a lot more this year, that affected those guys' numbers. But you got to fix the offensive line. If you fix this offensive line, that can make it so we can have a top 10 offense again. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember, Armando, that we had a top 10 defense with Weaver last year without a pass rush. Jalen Phillips, he came back last year, but he came back too early. He wasn't fully healthy. He ended up getting hurt after just a couple games. He was out for the season again. Bradley Chubb never ended up coming back from injury. He was out the whole year. So all we had for pass rush was a rookie outside linebacker who didn't start hitting his stride to the final 4 games of the year because he was a prospect. He was a development guy.
Right.
So we had no pass rush. We couldn't get to the quarterback. Now this year, Jalen Phillips should be fully healthy. Chop Robinson, a year under his belt. Plus he's a dog. He's a worker. From what I heard and hear from people, that he spent extra time after practices watching tape, working with Teron Armstead, our all-pro left tackle, on pass rushing moves and what works against the offensive line and things that he should do to become a better pass rusher. So he should be improved. Hopefully we can rework Bradley Chubb's contract and bring Bradley Chubb back. So now we have a pass rush. Imagine that added to a already top 10 defense. Yeah. And then as a Miami Dolphin fan, you know how badly Javon Howland played for us this year. How badly Javon Howland he phoned it in. It was like he was making business decisions out there. He knew that he was going to be a free agent this year. He didn't want to risk injury. He didn't give full effort. And then our other safety position was Jordan Poyer. He was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. So it's like we just had a open hole at safety too. So if you fix the safety positions, we got a pass rush. Listen, this team can be dynamite. I'm telling you, and I keep saying it, mark my words, this Miami Dolphins team this year is going to be the best team that we've had in the Mike McDaniel era. And as long as Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy, this will be a playoff team. This will be a playoff team that wins a playoff game. We're going to end that drought. And this team will have a real possibility of, if we win that first playoff game, stealing another playoff game. And you could find the Miami Dolphins in the AFC Championship game next year. And I know right now it might seem like a long shot or wishful thinking, but if you look back on what we've been able to do with a makeshift offensive line, with a not very good pass rush, with no continuity on the defense, this is going to be the first time in the Mike McDaniel era that we got the same defensive coordinator more than 1 year.
Damn.
I'm telling you that this offense, this defense can be top 10 units, and we are going to have an opportunity to win playoff games this year. As long as Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy.
Right. That'd be good, man. I always root for you guys. I don't think, like we've talked about it numerous times, is, everybody tries to put it on one person, the coach or the quarterback. I don't agree with that. It's always a team effort. And if Tua can stay healthy, he is a great quarterback. But is he elite? No. But he can win you games.
Is who reliable, Armando? Sorry.
As long as you can, if he can win your games, which he can, as long as everybody else performs too, because you can't just have one person perform in every game or two people perform in every game. It takes a team effort. Like you said, you could have the one of the top defenses, but if you can't get to a quarterback, that's where you cause your turnovers. That's where you get your extra points. That's, you're causing interceptions. You're causing sacks. You're disturbing. You're making them 3rd and longs instead of 3rd and 5s. Those things make a big deal. So, I mean, yeah, the pass rush would definitely help you guys. And then if you can keep Tua safe, if Tua can keep himself safe, which nobody can ever guarantee that, yeah, I really think you have something there. I really think you guys could go all the way to the AFC Championship. It doesn't take much. When the Giants did it, we were wild cards. We were literally got into the playoffs with the final win of the season. So anything is possible as long as Tua stays healthy and you guys make the right changes.
Well, that's what kills me about other content creators just throwing the towel. We need to just dump everybody and it's end of the world. Woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
Is Chubb and Phillips reliable? How reliable do you need to have them? If I'm not expecting Chubb or Phillips to come out and have 12 to 15 sacks apiece.
Right.
And I don't think this defense needs that. I think this defense, if Phillips can get 7 and Chubb can get 6 or 7, you know what I mean? And then Chop Robinson, I expect a little bit more from Chop. I expect the offenses were able to focus on Chop Robinson especially when he got it going at the end of the year. They were able to be like, hey, if we stop Chop Robinson from getting to the backfield, they have no other pass rush. So now you got Chop Robinson a year better, a year of experience under his belt. But you got to worry about Jalen Phillips. You got to worry about Bradley Chubb. They can't just focus on Chop. So I think Chop has the potential to go get you 10, 12 sacks next year. I think Chop Robinson's your real pass rusher next year. And if Chubb and Phillips can produce something on the other side, I think that's a win. And you don't have to rely on them, and you're not asking them to go get you 10 to 12 sacks. But we had no pass rush. When you're leading sack guy as your defensive tackle, Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer's a great player for us. But when he's your leading pass rusher, you know you got problems. And Mike's right. When you got a pass rush, it changes everything up. That quarterback doesn't have time to find the open receiver. The running game can't get going. So you know what I mean? And then if you can get a lead, which this offense, you rebuild the offensive line and you get a lead, and these defensive players get to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback, this team can be super successful. Look how bad we looked last year. Look how bad at times we looked last year. Yet we went to week 18 still with the opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Our best player had a broken wrist the whole year. Our starting quarterback missed 6 games.
Yep.
2 of our defensive studs played a total of 4 games between them. And then like I said, we got 0 from the safety position. We got nothing. Sealer also needs help inside. Yeah, I agree on that. I'm hoping and begging that somehow we can get Calais to come back. I'm begging. I'm hoping Calais sees the potential with this team. He sees what Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel are trying to put together, and I hope he comes back. We got time to try to impress him and try to talk him into it, because he's not going to sign before. He's going to sign late like he did last year. He's not going to want to do training camps and all this and all that. So hopefully we get Calais to come back, and that'll be a big help. But maybe we take someone in the draft. I went over, if you watch today's video from earlier today, I went over possible free agent fits. Listen, we need 2 to 3 players on the offensive line. We can go get 3 starters in free agency. 3 starters that'll make this offensive line leaps and bounds better. We can go get 3 starters that'll give us a top 10 to 12 offensive line. You can get 2 starting safeties for the same price it'll cost you to re-sign Javon Holland. This team can get better. And then we can go into the draft and draft best player available for position of need, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You go get yourself a top-end defensive tackle. There you go. That plugs that hole. Draft 2 guards and 2 defensive tackle. I would say draft 2 guards, 1 defensive tackle, 1 safety, and fill the rest of the holes with free agency. That's what I say.
Mm.
But other Armando, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, Finn Posse podcast. Check it out. We go through everything over there. I hate to dictate this show with too much Dolphin talk, but you know,
there ain't much going on, brother. I ain't mad.
Yeah, I feel you.
I feel you.
But yeah, other quarterback. We went through Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets dilemma with that. We'll see what they do. I think they end up moving on from Aaron. I think it's just what's best for the New York Jets to rebuild.
Yep.
But at the same time, the New York Jets, you got to be wondering, you got to be questioning. They had such high expectations last year. They had Super Bowl expectations. Aaron Glenn he's got to be considering the fact that he thinks he can do a better job than the prior regime, and that maybe he can get it going, and they don't have a huge rebuild in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that'd be tempting to me if I was coming into a team that I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, this same team right here, they were talking about Super Bowl, and I'm looking at the defense and I'm like, hey man, this can be a top 5 defense for sure. And I'm looking at the offense and I got Devontae Adams and I got Wilson and I got Breece Hall and Aaron Rodgers, all-time great. He's got to be considering, it's got to be in the back of his mind like, hey, do I give it a shot? They're both older. We need a fresh body. Who's both older? You talking about Zealer and Zach Sealer's not too old. Calais is old. Listen, we're only going by this year. That's all you can go by, Armando. You can't, if you're talking about building a team right now, that's a lost cause right now because everything depends on this year. If this team is not successful this year, we're starting completely over. And the only way we're getting better this year is by mortgaging our future. Our future's already mortgaged up to the ears, but Chris Greer's going to take it over the top because his job's on the line. He's going to do everything, and he's going to put us in so much financial trouble to get us cap room this year. But again, he does not care because if this year does not work, he's not going to be here.
Yep.
But if it doesn't work, we are going to be in so much shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's gonna rework Tua's contract, and we're gonna pay Tua pennies on the dollar. And yeah, he's still gonna make a shit ton of money this year. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we're probably gonna save $20 million on Tua's contract this year. Guess where that money goes? Towards the end of the contract. So if Tua's scheduled to make 55 next year, he's going to make 62. If he's scheduled for 60 the year after that, he's going to make 70. You know what I mean? So it's going to hurt us in the long run, but that's what he's going to do. And it's not just going to be Tua he's going to do it to.
No.
So you can't talk about building. Even if we're successful this year, this isn't something like the Chiefs. This isn't a situation like the Chiefs. If, say we go to the Super Bowl and win it, by some miracle, we're not going back to the Super Bowl next year. We're not making the playoffs next year because our team's going to have to be torn down.
That's terrible.
It's one and done. It's all in. I got $20 to live on. I'm throwing it in the jackpot, and if I win, listen, we haven't steak dinner. If we lose, brother, you know what I mean? If we lose, you're
just farther in debt.
We're giving hand jobs outside the gas station for a gas station hot dog.
For a gas station hot dog with no chili.
But even if you win and you have that steak dinner, you ain't gonna have no food for tomorrow. No matter how you do it, this team's in trouble.
Yeah, that's definitely a tough spot to be in for you guys. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I just hope the same thing for the Giants. I hope they don't go in and sit there and just spend all this money because they're on their last leg too. We're in a similar situation. We got a little more cap room, obviously, but
no, you guys are in a better situation because you already moved on from your quarterback. You already started the healing process. You know what I mean? You ain't got a bunch of big name contracts that we got huge contracts. We got two receivers making over $30 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
we got a quarterback $60 million. That's $120 million in 3 players that you don't have.
So literally, you guys have to go all in this year, regardless. Because if you don't,
Well, yeah, I mean, people are going to get their way because, some people are going to get their way. People want to see Tua fail. People would rather be right in the Dolphins community than to see this team succeed, and I've learned that.
right.
People would rather Tua fall on his face this year and we lose than for Tua to come out and play good and they're wrong.
Just to give them an excuse. I don't
And
like
it blows
that.
my mind. It blows my mind.
No, absolutely not.
But I mean, if the season goes wrong and Tua gets hurt, and that's the main thing that can go wrong is Tua gets hurt and we don't make the playoffs. Chris Greer is going to be fired. Mike McDaniel's going to be fired. We're going to get rid of Tua, but we're going to still owe Tua so much money. We're going to trade Tyreek for nothing. Jalen Ramsey. We have to move on from a lot of people, and it's going to be a lot of dead cap. So for the next 2-3 years, we're gonna have no money to help our team out. We're just gonna have to draft, and then by time you get cap space again, you've had 2-3 drafts where you should have a bunch of good players through the draft. You know what I mean? And you should have a bunch of cap space. And that's when the rebuild really starts again. It gives you an opportunity to be in a position that, hey, maybe we got the quarterback position right in one of these drafts. Hey, you know what I mean? And you're able to do what the Washington Commanders are doing this year. You find a quarterback who is supremely talented, and you got a bunch of cap space to build a team around them. But right now, this year, it's all or nothing for these Miami Dolphins. I see Jets or Panthers win a playoff game before Miami. You're crazy.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't. Bro, we were one game out the playoffs this year, Armando, with Tua missing 6 games. The years before that, we made the playoffs. Yeah, we lost to Kansas City in frigid temperatures with half our team hurt. And the year before that, we lost the Buffalo in Buffalo by a field goal with our backup quarterback. And you're telling me the Jets, who don't know who their quarterback's going to be, is going to win a playoff game before us? Or the Patriots? Are you saying the Patriots or the Panthers? Panthers?
I think it's the Panthers, yeah.
Who are the Panthers?
Yeah, they got a little bit of the Panthers got some work to do before I think any of that.
We got a lot of talent on this team. Come on. I'm not a Tua guy neither, but you can't deny that we had a top 10 offense with Tua at one point. Them first 2 years, this offense was really good. Last year it fell off. It did. But our offensive line was horrible. Armando, how long you been a Dolphins fan? How long you been a Dolphins fan, Armando? Because if you've been a Dolphins fan for any amount of time, maybe you're not a Tua guy. Maybe you're not a big Tua fan. And I'm not here to try to talk you into it. But, brother, I've been a Dolphin fan for 30 plus years, and I've seen bad quarterback play.
Right.
And Tua doesn't play the quarterback position bad. Does he have bad games? Yeah. He has games where you're like, shit, what the hell? You're a bum. He does have those games. But he has those games where you're like, damn, he played a damn good game. He has impressive games. He's literally the best quarterback we've had in the last 30 years. The last 30 years, he's the best quarterback we've had.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
Tua is a better quarterback today than, and this is going to be controversial, and nobody loves Dan Marino as much as I love Dan Marino. My kids really thought my mom had sex with Dan Marino and he was my dad. Well, I don't know if they believed he was my dad. They like I used to joke about it, and they were like, Dad, what happened to that guy that Mamu used to date? And I was like, what guy? They're like the football player. I was like, what football player? That guy that the football player Mamu used to date. I was like, what are you talking about? They're like Marino, or I was like, oh man, I wish. I wish
That's
Dan
funny.
would have boinked my mom.
For real.
Greer's being a weasel again, failing to build a line, then save his job by saying Tua makes bad decisions. Oh, he gonna build that line this year.
Mhm.
He gonna build that line this year. He don't have a choice. Before his job was in jeopardy, he got them do his little sneak shit. He addressed it. He made it known. He made it known to the public that the O-line is a problem.
Right.
Now, if he doesn't address it, he faces that backlash from the public. He has no choice but to address it. He has no choice.
I hope so. I hope you guys do something this year. I definitely don't like watching you do your watch parties and get all flustered, man. But I can imagine, man. You Dolphins fans have had it rough, like rough. I couldn't even imagine. I've gotten to witness 2 Super Bowls since I've really gotten into football, and it's only been since 2012, so it's been over 10 years, and it feels like longer, but I have no room to complain. You Dolphins fans definitely have it much worse than us Giants fans, and I don't wish you guys ill at all. I really hope y'all can do something this year, because like you said, after this year, you guys are screwed. You guys are really screwed. And then you're talking about it's gonna be 2 or 3 years before you can actually get back on track. That's kind of insane. It's kind of insane.
I'll take that, Armando. Don't go missing. Don't go missing. Okay, you've been a fan since I was almost born. I feel you. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. You're in denial right now, Armando. What we have one playoff berth since 2003 or something like that. 2002 until Tua. Is Tua not the greatest quarterback we've had it on this team in the last 30 years? Is Tua not 3rd or 4th all time for this team's whole history? You got Marino, you got Greasy, and then you got Tua. Marino, Greasy, then Tua. That's our top 3 quarterbacks in this team's history. And he's a bum?
Damn.
I mean, we haven't had a lot of great quarterbacks on this team. I mean, we had Greasy in the 60s, 70s. Yeah, Marino in the 80s and 90s. And then we've had a drought of quarterbacks. I mean, you could argue between Tannehill and Tua, I guess. But I'm telling you that the Miami Dolphins, if Tua stays healthy, they win a playoff game this year.
How do you think the Raiders are going to do with Pete Carroll as their quarterback this year?
So I'll take that bet. Armando. I'll take that bet, $100. Can you at least? I'll make that bet 100%. Can you at least give me the benefit that if Tua can stay healthy, we make the playoffs? Because you're saying, but he's saying because Tua's a bum,
right?
He's saying he can't send a super chat. I got cash app.
He said, "I got cash app." We're getting there.
It's all in fun though. You're entitled to your opinion, Armando. Do we need to upgrade our quarterback position? Yes, for the simple fact that Tua can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
you can argue the fact that his play on the field, and we can agree to disagree. And there's lots of times that I feel the same way you do. But the main fact is Tua can't stay healthy on a consistent basis. That's the main reason he needs to be replaced. Would I love to have a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson? Absolutely. I'm not going to throw Joe Burrow out there, although everybody's on his nuts all the time. Joe Burrow has a history of being injured too. Joe Burrow has had great receivers. Joe Burrow, besides the one Super Bowl run, hasn't done much to me. He hasn't done much. Does his numbers look fantastic? Yeah. He's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, which are both real, legit number one receivers. We have Tyreek Hill, who is a legit number one receiver, although he is a gimmick player at the same time. He's not I wouldn't say he's a true number one like Jamar Chase is, but he is a gimmick player. I mean, he's a speed guy. And then you got Jalen Waddle, who is not a number one receiver. I don't care. I'll argue anybody. Jalen Waddle's not a number one receiver.
No.
But yeah, I would love to have a Lamar Jackson, a Jaden Daniels, a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen. I'd love to have it. We just don't got it. And hopefully someday in the near future we find it.
Sure.
But anyway.
Don't we all wish we had one of those? Don't we?
Keep getting off topic. The Pittsburgh Steelers, what are they going to do at the quarterback position? Obviously, the Russell Wilson thing, it seemed like it was working, but towards the end of the season, he just wasn't able to make the plays necessary to beat the better teams in the league. And then you got Justin Fields. Justin Fields was 4-2 with this team last year. The running game looked way more successful when Justin Fields was playing. Do you bring one of these quarterbacks back? Do you bring them both back? Do you bring none of them back? What would you do, Mike?
I'd probably, I think I'd move on from Russ. I really would. I just don't think he's there anymore. He's getting up there, man. He's got the deep ball when it's there, but he also has the receivers that can go get it, or he had a receiver that would go get it. I was on that bandwagon. Trust me. Like when the Steelers were putting him in, and I'm like, oh, Tomlin's got some balls putting Russ in, and I don't know, man, this could work out bad. But then he kept winning games, and I was on the train. I was excited for him. I was like, maybe this is different. But at the end of the day, he just isn't enough. He isn't enough for the Steelers team, and they got to know. They got to know that. So for them to put him out there again this year, I think it'd be dumb. I think they have a better chance of putting Fields out there and seeing what kind of effort Fields puts in the offseason and seeing if he can progress himself. And I think that's the best bet for the Steelers. I really do. It's not like you didn't put out a veteran in Russ and give him his shot. He had the opportunity. Like he had everything he needed, and he just couldn't perform. And unfortunately in this league, if you can't put up enough points, you ain't going to win. End of story. So, I mean, I would go with Fields. He's a young guy. He, like you said, he played pretty well. He got him, what you said, he went 4-2 when he was in. Why not? Why not? Let him start at the beginning of the season and just see where it goes, because I don't see many more options than that unless you're planning on picking up another veteran quarterback. But I don't know if that's the way to go. I just don't. I would try Fields, because honestly, I was thinking maybe the Giants could pick up Fields and he could be like a bridge or a backup, or I didn't even care. I don't even care. I want a quarterback of some sort, and maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't, because I really don't expect the Giants to be good next year. I expect it to be a learning curve. I know they're going to try because everybody's Joe Shane and Daybell's jobs are on the line. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they put in some. I know they're talking to Sanders, but is Sanders going to be ready? Even if we do get Sanders, and that's a big if. That's a big if. Could he come to us? Yes, we could have him in the third pick, and they're sitting there and they're spending a lot of time sitting there. Like at the Shrine Bowl, they were sitting there spending a lot of time talking to Sanders, and I'm pretty sure that Daybell and the Giants want Sanders. But the question is Sanders ready for the NFL? Is he going to be ready for the NFL? Do we put him in and put him out there? And I say yes. I say we would. I would start him right away. only if we do something and address our offensive line, because we don't want a quarterback coming fresh out of college, regardless of who he is, and put him back there with the offensive line that's shit and have him taking hits, have him getting banged up and all that. You just don't need it. You just don't it doesn't make sense. He's not going to progress if he's running for his life every single game, week in, week out. So, I would go with Fields. That would be my decision. That's what I think. And I could be way wrong, but that's what I feel like. I feel like you've gotten what you're going to get from Russ. You've seen what you're going to get from Russ. He's not capable of putting up he might have a big game here, a big game there, but you don't need that. You're the Steelers, man. You need a quarterback who can put points on the board. And unfortunately, I don't think that's him. I don't think that's Russell anymore. I think Russ is at the end of his road, and maybe if he wants to stay in the league, I think maybe he'd be better off just being a backup. And it sucks because I like watching Russ play when he's playing good. But I watched him play when he was with Seattle. He was amazing. He was a good quarterback, great quarterback. But everybody hits that level. And I think Russ is at that level where it's time to move on. It's time to either accept being a backup or move on, go do something else. Be a sportscaster. That's what all these quarterbacks do nowadays.
You see this here again, Mike. This is not the first person that said this to me.
What?
Fiedler, Jay Fiedler, the quarterback, Jay Fiedler. You guys are delusional with Jay Fiedler. Raphael hit me in the head with Jay Fiedler. This is Jay Fiedler's career stats.
Yeah, let's hear this.
1998, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. 1999, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2000, 14 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. 2011, his best year, 20 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. 2002, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. 2003, 11 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. 2004, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. 2005, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Give me a freaking break.
I put in the water boy before I did any of that.
Jay Fiedler.
I can't believe you've heard that from 2 different people. That's insanity. Jay
Fiedler. You know why? It's because these guys are obviously a little bit older than me. So maybe they're experiencing a little dementia. They forget, they fail to remember that those teams were successful. Those teams were in the playoffs year after year. But they forget we had a top 5 defense. We had a killer defense. We had a great defense, like a great defense. And we had a running game. That's how we won games. We won our games 13-10. 16-13.
Fiedler.
We barely ever scored over 20 points. Jay freaking Fiedler, he threw 20 touchdowns once, but he had 19 picks. Every year besides that, he didn't throw over 14 touchdowns. 14 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Come on, man.
What years did he play?
1998 to 2005.
Oh yeah, so those numbers.
He played 5 years with the Dolphins. 14 touchdowns, and you threw 14 picks.
Yeah. Screw
he
that.
threw over 3,000 yards once. He threw 3,290 yards the year that he threw 20 touchdowns. Every other year was low 2000s.
Wow.
And he started every game for him. It's not like we're not talking about he started half the season or 6 games. He started the whole season, 14 touchdowns, 2,000 yards passing. What's 2,000 divided by 16? What's 14 divided by 16? Less than a touchdown a game.
Damn.
What's 22? What's 2,200 divided by 16 for real?
2,200 divided by 16. 137.5.
137 yards a game he was averaging, bro. Like, come on.
Garbage.
Jay
Garbage.
Fiedler. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man. I missed that segment. Come on, man. Oh, man.
It's all right, though. It's all right. We're all Finn fans. Mike's a Giants fan, but we're Finn fans. I ain't gonna hate on you too much. You're just in denial. You forget those teams were led by Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor and Brock Marion and Pat Surtain and Sam Madison. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We had great defenses. We had the top corner duo in football. Like, we had the number 1 and number 3 corners in all of football.
Damn.
Number 1 and number 3. We had the best pass rusher in all of football, Jason Taylor. We had a top 3 linebacker in football, middle linebacker in football. We had a top 3 or 4 safety. Like, we had a beast of a team.
Yes,
we had a beast of a team.
That's crazy.
Brock Marion, yep. Brock Marion, number 31, came over from the Cowboys. I know. Listen, dog, I know what it is.
I can't. What did I just see? I just seen
All right, let's talk about these Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh boy.
Are these Kansas City Chiefs the greatest? First off, I seen someone ask if the Kansas City Chiefs were a dynasty. How are they not a dynasty?
Right. They're definitely a dynasty.
But is the Kansas City Chiefs the greatest dynasty we've ever seen in the NFL?
I don't know.
Bet on, Armando. Absolutely, brother. So are you sorry, Armando, you gonna give me the fact that if Tua plays the whole year, he don't got to play the whole year. If Tua misses more than 4 games, we call it even. If he misses 4 or under, it's a fair bet. Is that cool? Or is it just straight up? Because if Tua don't play, this is obviously not a playoff team.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not fair. Yeah, I agree with you, Armand. I think the Patriots have the best dynasty so far. I think that Kansas City still has a little bit to prove. I mean, if they three-peat, then I think you can legitly put that out there. But I don't think there's a guarantee they're going to three-peat. The Philadelphia team is looking really good. I know that Kansas City finds ways to make the come out on top at the end of these games, but it's got to end. It don't gotta. Listen, I can sit here and say it's got to end, and they are the champions, and they find a way to win. But at some point, it's got to end. It's going to end. And I think Philadelphia, if Saquon has anything to say about it, I think it could be this year. I think that Kansas City has the opportunity, obviously, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the Eagles look pretty good. They definitely look more explosive than Kansas City. And if Kansas City can't put up a bunch of points, I think we're looking at an NFC East Super Bowl champion, which I'm not happy with, but it is what it is. Is what it is.
See, the Patriots, the Patriots got 6 Super Bowl titles in 19 years. If the Kansas City Chiefs win next Sunday, they'll have 4 in 5 years. So, how many? So a dynasty is a 10-year period, I'd say, right? So you can't count all 6 of those championships because they happened over a 19-year period.
Right.
So how many did the Patriots win during the 2000s? Some were during the 2000s, some were during the 2010s. I don't know if it's fair to judge the Chiefs' 5-year run against a 19-year run.
Right. That's a tough question. I just don't know if Kansas City's there yet. I really don't.
Eagles win by 14. Armando says 20 for the Pats.
Let's see.
I mean, you got the Steelers of the 70s. They had 4 rings. You got the 49ers of the 80s. They had 4 rings. You had the 2000 or the 90s Cowboys. They had 3. Then you had the Patriots of the 2000s. I guess the Patriots of the 2010s too.
Let's see.
And then the Kansas City Chiefs of the 2020s.
New England. What's that? 2002, New England won the Super Bowl. Then they won it in 2004. Then 2005.
2001,
2004, 2001, 2004, 2005. Then we beat them. And I don't know, maybe. And we beat them again. Yeah. Then New England.
What
Then
years
they
are
lost.
those?
They won it in 15 and 17, and then they lost to Philly in 18. And then they beat the Rams 13-3 in 2019.
So they only had 3 Super Bowls each of those decades. So you still think it's the Patriots, Armando?
Because I think it's close. I think it's really close right now. I think you could go either way.
Is it though? Because in a 10-year period, the most the Patriots ever won was 3.
But they still have to.
The Chiefs are going for 4. The Chiefs are going for 4 in half that time.
Yeah, but maybe they don't win this, and maybe they don't win. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think this Super Bowl really depends on if.
Well, even if they don't win this Super Bowl and they don't win another one for the next 6 years, which I find highly unlikely, they're still tied. They're still tied.
Yeah, so I think
with the Patriots.
So I think you can have an argument on both sides, and I don't think anybody would be wrong whether to say Patriots were the best dynasty or Kansas City's the best. I think, but I honestly believe if Kansas City wins this and they get the 3-peat, I don't think you can really say the Patriots had the best dynasty because nobody's ever 3-peated. So I think
Armando said that, and he's right about that. They dominated the division for 15 years, which that's pretty remarkable. Yeah, I mean that's pretty remarkable. They were going against some bad teams, but that is pretty remarkable. The domination of the AFC East.
I think it's just a little too soon to sit there and say that, Kansas City is the number 1 dynasty over the Patriots at this point. I still think, like I said, they need to solidify it. And if they win next week, I think you have a legit argument to say, yeah.
Well, even the Patriots, though, if the Patriots only won 3 in 10 years, both times, I mean, you got the Steelers who've won 4 in 10 years. You got the 49ers who've won 4 in 10 years. I think any one of those Dallas Cowboy teams beat any one of those New England Patriots teams.
Let's see.
The Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, the Emmitt Smith teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'd take Brady over Mahomes any day. Oh, man. I can't say that I agree with you there, brother. I will say Tom Brady won more Super Bowls with less talent than any other quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah. And then he went to Tampa and won one there too. So.
I mean, Tom had one of the greatest tight ends of all time, but he didn't have him his whole career in Gronk.
Right.
And Tom had Randy Moss and Wes Walker, but he didn't win a Super Bowl with them guys.
Yeah.
All his Super Bowls were with a bunch of guys that like Deion Branch, and you know what I mean? Like, who the hell is Deion Branch? He won the Super Bowl with a bunch of guys that you don't really know, Like San Francisco, you had Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. The Steelers, you had Lynn Swann and Terry Bradshaw. The Cowboys, you had the triplets. So I'll give Tom Brady credit for that. So I mean, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. I think when it's all said and done, Brady and Mahomes go down as the two greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as pure talent goes, Mahomes is he's more talented for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think Brady's the most talented quarterback by a long shot. I don't think Tom Brady's the best thrower of the ball by a long shot. I would take Dan Marino in a heartbeat over Tom Brady's throwing arm.
Right.
Tom Brady couldn't throw the ball like Dan Marino did,
Mm.
but Dan Marino couldn't win like Tom Brady did. So, I mean, I remember Testaverde and Quebec giving Miami that business. Yeah. That Monday night game where they came, we were smacking that ass and they came back and beat us. I was so sick. When Jimbo Elliott caught that touchdown at the end of the game. Oh, man. Sick. Bringing up harsh memories, Armando. Bringing up harsh memories.
Why?
All right, so we can't come to an agreement on that one. Let's go. Let's take a look at Saquon. I had talked about him earlier in the show. Saquon Barkley. Is Saquon Barkley having the greatest season a running backs ever had?
Ever had. It's been an enjoyment to watch. I can say you that. I don't think he's far off if he ain't. Just the year he's had, he could have broke the single season record. No problem, hands down. And he didn't.
Well, they say that
let them boys eat, he said.
Well, he has the opportunity to break the all-time record regardless, including playoffs.
Correct.
He has the opportunity to
he's not that far off either, is he?
He's 30 yards off from having the most rushing combined yards in NFL history in a season.
Yep.
At over 2,800 yards. He'd be the first running back to ever go over 2,800 yards.
So, yeah, I guess that would have to say he's the best.
I mean, there's more to
one season.
No, I mean, we're talking about a single season. There's more to it than yards.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, what he's got right now, his stats, including the playoffs, he's got 2,400 yards, 2,447 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 yards per carry. He's got an NFL record, 7 rushing touchdowns over 60 yards. That's 3 more than any running back in NFL history in a single season.
Damn.
Let's take a look at some of the other ones that I'd put up against it, and you tell me which one you think is better, and we'll do a process of elimination.
Mm-hmm.
You too, Armando. You tell me which one you think is better. So again, Saquon Barkley's numbers this year: 2,447 yards, 18 touchdowns, and then he had the special thing of 7 rushing touchdowns over 60 yards. That's 3 more than anybody else in NFL history in a single season. Let's see. You got Jim Brown, 1963. Now, they played less games. I think they played 14. He had 1,863 yards and 12 touchdowns. He averaged 6.4 yards per carry. That's 133 yards per game. take Saquon over that?
I'm taking Saquon over that. Yeah, absolutely.
O.J. Simpson. He was at 14 games, I think. He had 2,003 yards rushing. He averaged 143 yards a game. He was the NFL MVP. He had 12 touchdowns.
That's closer.
2,105 yards. So that's like 700 yards less than Saquon.
Yeah.
It's 6 less touchdowns.
Yeah, it's closer, but it's still not. It's still not what he's doing. So.
Still Saquon?
Still Saquon.
Let's see. Terrell Davis. He had 2,000 yards rushing. He had another 468 yards in the postseason. That'd take him to 2,500. Plus, he had the other 200 yards receiving. He's the one that Saquon would be breaking his record.
He's the
2,700 total yards. How many touchdowns did he have?
He holds the first and second spot. Well, he holds the first spot now, but he did hold the first and second spot twice, right? If I remember correctly.
Oh, Terrell Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe.
He might have.
Yeah, I believe he had the first and second spot, and then after last week, Saquon took the second spot, and obviously the Super Bowl, Saquon's going to be in first.
I'm going to jump to the one that I really think is the real competition here. And it's just because, well, there's 2 of them. And because Saquon's going to obviously be ahead of yards because he has the opportunity to Ricky Williams over Tua. I'd take that over 5,500 passing season from a quarterback. Yeah, I mean, Ricky Williams I'd definitely take Ricky Williams over Tua. Hell yeah. Ricky Williams was a phenomenal player for us. And if he would have got better quarterback play, we could have did special things with Ricky Williams. All right, so 2000 Marshall Faulk. He was the MVP that year. He had 2,189 yards from scrimmage. So that'd be about 600 yards less than Saquon finishes at. He had 26 touchdowns, though.
Whew. Damn.
26 touchdowns. So he's 600 yards less, but has 8 more touchdowns.
Did he have a quarterback stealing his rushing touchdowns, though?
No, but they threw for a lot more touchdowns than the Eagles did.
Okay.
Kurt Warner was his quarterback. The greatest show on turf. They threw for a lot of touchdowns. A lot more of Marshall Faulk's yards came through the air than what Saquon's did. So as far as straight, Saquon definitely had the better year as far as rushing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Faulk was a great receiver. I mean, you can still give the edge to Saquon. I mean, Saquon is breaking their all-time record for single yards in a season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's hard. I think it's really hard to put that on. He's blown everything. He's just blowing everything away. And like I said, he could have had more, and he just let his team play.
This is the one that this is the one though that I think is the best. This is the one I would choose, and I think it's the greatest rushing performance it's the greatest running year by a running back in NFL history, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. 2006, LaDainian Tomlinson for the San Diego Chargers.
Okay.
LaDainian had 2,323 yards rushing. They got eliminated the first round of the playoffs. So Saquon had an extra. He's going to have an extra 3 games.
Right.
To get to 2,800 yards. So 2,323 yards rushing. And he had one less regular season game too. Don't forget that.
Right. Okay.
My big number here is I think they would have came close at the rushing yards. I think you give LaDainian Tomlinson 3 more games, he comes close to that 2,800 yards.
Mm-hmm.
The big number here is LaDainian Tomlinson had 31 touchdowns in a season.
Okay. I mean, I can
31 touchdowns.
I mean, that's a lot compared to what Saquon's got. So, I mean, I wouldn't argue that. If somebody wanted to say LT was better, if somebody want to say he had the better season, you can't really argue with that. Other than, like you said, he didn't play as many games, and you said he played one less regular season game. So imagine if he played that regular season game and he made it to the Super Bowl. I mean, we probably wouldn't even be talking about Saquon breaking that record right now. I mean, let's face it, it would probably be his record, but we can't talk on probably. Is the fact is he didn't. So, but you can't sit there and say that. I would put if those are the numbers he's got, I'd put him right there with him. I'd put them right there together. And like I said, sometimes you can't sit there and just pick a clear cut better person. Sometimes there's different. You have different instances. You have different factors that come into play. So when somebody would sit there and argue with me, oh, LT was better. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you because, you're entitled to your opinion. And honestly, situations are different. You can't say he wasn't better. You can't say that, you know what I mean? Now, if Saquon keeps if Saquon backs this year up with another banging year and then another banging year, I mean, then yeah, but that's what's hard. That's what's fun about football though, is everybody has a different opinion. Everybody. I like Saquon. I liked watching LT too when he played. So, but I'm still going to go Saquon. I just think his explosiveness and his ability to 60-yard runs, you said 3 more than anybody's ever done. That's insane. The dude's it's like you're watching explosive plays all the time from Saquon Barkley. It's like, you just don't see that. You don't see that repetitively. And what he's done this year, his first year with his new team and the Philadelphia Eagles, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I would still give it to Saquon, but I wouldn't argue with anybody who said they thought LaDainian Tomlinson had a better year.
31 touchdowns, you're giving it to him? Oh man.
I'm still.
You're
because
crazy.
I still feel like Jalen took some of his touchdowns. I really do.
Not 13 of them.
Maybe not 13 of them, but he's close enough. And like I said, he could have got more rushing yards in that one game, and he sat down on a free rushing touchdown in the middle of the field. He sat down. He could have had another 60-yarder.
Come on, bro. Come on.
That's all right. We can argue, but I don't care. That's what I feel. I like.
Edgerrin James was a beast. You a University of Miami fan too there, Armando? Edgerrin James from the U. Yeah, I mean, LaDainian Tomlinson is probably my favorite all-around back. I loved Ricky Williams when he played for us. Barry Sanders, you can't help but love Barry Sanders. Thurman Thomas for the Buffalo Bills back in the day was great. Of course, Emmett. A lot of great running backs throughout the years. That is the great thing about football. I like Saquon a lot. I do. I really do. I'm very upset that the Miami Dolphins didn't trade a 5th-round pick for him.
Sure.
As much as you can't get over the fact that you guys let him go, I can't get over the fact that we didn't go get him.
Right.
Ronnie Brown. I liked Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown had potential. Him and Ricky were a nice duo too. You love the Eagles. I mean, that's how you win championships. That's why I'm telling you that this Miami Dolphins team, if we can fix the offensive lines, fix the hole in the offensive line that we have, I mean, it'll opens things up for us. I would love to have a team that ran the ball like the Philadelphia Eagles. This Miami Dolphins team could have had Saquon for a 5th-round pick. We didn't pull the trigger. We didn't want to pay $12, $15 million a year. Saquon's definitely worth it. But yeah, thanks for stopping through. We'll be back Monday to talk more about the Super Bowl and start getting in depth and start talking about particular matchups and who we favor offense versus defense and vice versa. And start talking about who we like in the big game. Maybe start making some predictions on who's going to be the Super Bowl MVP, and we'll break down any other NFL news, and then and then we move on to free agency, and then the draft, and then you got OTAs, and then it's training camp, and then we're right back to work, another season.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait.
So we'll see you Monday. Thanks for stopping in. We appreciate you. Any final words, Mike?
Hey, man, just a normal. Thanks for kicking it with us on episode 50 of the Blitz. Please remember the links are always in the chat. Stop by and say hi. We appreciate everybody who stopped by. Thanks, Armando, for stopping by today. Yeah, enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. And we'll see you Monday.
Armando, don't forget Fin Posse Podcast, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Peace.